Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to unpack a really powerful lesson on starting over, but not through data or research. Instead, we're going to explore it through a simple, beautiful story about a tiny bird whose whole world just fell apart. So, let me ask you this. What if losing that place you feel safest? What if that was actually the beginning of you finding where you truly belong? Our story kicks off with a small sparrow who was convinced she had found the most perfect, secure home in the entire world, a place she thought would keep her safe forever. Okay, so picture this, an old, silent temple, tucked away deep in the mountains, and right at its center stands this huge bronze bell. But it hasn't been rung in so many years that dust has settled all over it like a soft blanket. It's just a perfect picture of stillness. Now, to most, it was just a forgotten instrument, but to one small sparrow, the hollow inside this bell, well, it wasn't just empty space, it was an opportunity. It looked like a ready-made fortress, almost like it was designed just for her. And so, she started to build. Twig by twig, she carefully put her nest together. She lined it with soft feathers, pouring all her energy into creating what she saw as the ultimate sanctuary, a safe haven from the unpredictable world outside. And as she settled in, this deep sense of peace just washed over her. She'd sing in the mornings, rest in the afternoons. She was absolutely convinced that her world was stable, secure, and that that bell would stay silent forever. But, as we all know, life has a funny way of shifting when we least expect it. One morning, the silence of that courtyard was broken by the sound of footsteps. The temple monks had gathered, deciding it was finally time to ring that old bell once again. And then, just like that, a single, thunderous noise ripped through the air. The massive bell shook with a violent force the sparrow had never even imagined possible. And in that one deafening moment, her entire world was turned completely upside down. The nest she had so carefully built just disintegrated. Instantly. Twigs and feathers scattered into the air. The home she believed was indestructible was completely gone. Her sanctuary was ruined. She flew out in a panic, circling the courtyard in absolute despair. Her safe world had just vanished, and in her heart, she's crying out these questions that have no answers, feeling lost and betrayed by the very place that was supposed to protect her. With heavy wings and an even heavier heart, the sparrow flew away from the temple, with no idea where she was going. For days, she just wandered aimlessly, getting more tired, more hungry, and dangerously close to giving up all hope. But even in her deepest exhaustion, there was this small, resilient voice inside her that just refused to be silenced. It was like a tiny spark of instinct, a whisper of hope that just urged her to keep moving, to keep searching, to not stop now. So she did. She kept flying. And one afternoon, she heard something new. This faint, unfamiliar sound of trickling water. And with nothing left to lose, she decided to follow it. And that one decision would lead her to a place beyond her wildest dreams. The sound led her to this hidden glade deep in the forest. Light was streaming through the trees, the air was fresh and sweet, and the branches were heavy with berries. A sparkling stream was singing this gentle song. It was truly a paradise. And here, you can just see the stark contrast, right? The bell was dark, hollow, and confined. It was a cage she had mistaken for a home. But this glade, it was open, vibrant, and just so full of life. It wasn't just a shelter, it was a place where she could really, truly thrive. And as she started building a new nest, this one stronger and bigger than the last, this profound realization hit her. That terrifying sound of the bell, the event that destroyed her home and shattered her world, was the very thing that had guided her here, to a place that was so much better. So this brings us to the most important question of all. How do we apply this sparrow's journey to our own lives? Because let's face it, we all have moments when our personal bells ring, when the things we count on are suddenly shaken apart. We all build these nests, don't we? These comfort zones. We pour our time and energy into them, believing they're permanent fixtures in our lives. And just like the sparrow, we're often shocked and devastated when life decides it's time for that foundation to change. But the sparrow's story gives us a really clear path forward.
And these aren't just abstract ideas. They are 3 solid habits for rebuilding. First, keep moving. Even if you don't have a destination, don't let despair paralyze you. Second, stay open. Listen for those new, unfamiliar sounds or opportunities. And third, when you do rebuild, use the wisdom you've gained. Build back stronger and make your next chapter even better.
And really, this is the powerful paradox at the heart of the whole story. The very event that felt like a catastrophic end was actually a disguised beginning. The loss wasn't a punishment. It was a liberation. It pushed her out of her comfort zone and toward a life she never could have imagined. So if you feel like your world is shaking right now, if your bell is ringing loud and clear, maybe it's not the end you fear. Maybe, just maybe, it's the start of your journey to find that beautiful, sparkling glade that's waiting just for you.